We got a little bit of a late start today, but we're going to go into it anyway. I'm back with my mom, Amy, and we're just going to basically pick up where we left off, just talking about the old days, the good old days, the moderate days, the modern days, just wherever the conversation may take us. That's really up to mom. I'm just going to pull the string and see what she says.
Hello, everyone. With me, there's no telling.
We'll just loosen up like last time. This is more free form, just long content where we're just gonna talk about everything. Don't worry about trying to be concise or anything. Just tell the story. So, do you remember kind of where you left off? I know you were bouncing all over the place, and
I
something
was,
I was very interested in was the Roswell though. That like you didn't get around to saying why y'all moved to Roswell. Like why there? Or do you even know, or were you just so young this just you just remember that was the place?
I don't really know why. I guess probably maybe because my mom had a sister close by, and my dad had been stationed in Roswell, I think, in the Air Force.
Okay.
I'm not sure where all he was stationed. I know they lived in Maine once and Wichita Falls
So was he
and
still in the Air Force when you were a kid?
no,
Okay.
no.
When did he get out of the Air Force? Like before you
Um,
were born?
yes, before I was born.
Okay.
I know Renee was. Um, He was in the service when Renee was born, I know that. But I don't know why we moved to Roswell. My mom had lived for a while as a young girl in Artesia.
So you're just a little bit closer to the mic, so the people can hear you.
Okay, but yes, um, I know that I remember that we left Illinois, a little suburb of Chicago, Posen. We left Posen before Dad. He stayed to close the house down and sell it and
Oh, really?
haul
So
our
y'all went
stuff.
ahead.
So Mom and my sister and brother and I, we went ahead. And I remember when we left, there was like a blackout blizzard. Although it seemed like it was summery when we left, but we'd been driving all day, and then we got into this little blizzard thing. But we had driven and driven, and Mom, she could drive, and the speed limits were like 70 back then or whatever. I remember pulling into Roswell, and it was dark, and we stayed in two different places, but the first place was a place called on Evergreen Street, and she was had us kids looking for the road to turn on it. She goes, now it's by this hotel Travel Lodge and it has a bear in its nightgown holding a candlestick and a cat nightcap. Well, being from having gone to Tennessee to see my grandparents and all in the Smoky Mountains and the black bears, everything, I loved bears my whole life. We'd pass numerous and numerous black bears on the road to see Grandma and Grandpa. But so we found that house, and as I told you last time, my dad ran service stations, not gas stations, service stations in Posen. Well, one time he had a golf. Uh, yes, I believe it was golf. And then he had a Sinclair, but I have a faint memory of the golf station. Um, it was
Are those the
winter
name of the stations?
golf,
Golf.
Gulf,
Okay.
yes. That's the one actually I've seen his bronze award on his plaque for a best outstanding number one of the state or something like
Oh,
this
really?
service station, yeah. But what he would do, and like I said, service stations, you pulled in, it wasn't just fill your tank. They serviced you, whether you asked them to or not. It was a service. They check your oil, clean your tail, your air pressure, all this stuff, no charge because they serviced. But for a full tank of gas, he had stuffed animals that he would give people for free. And I remember it's my first stuffed animal that I remember as a child. I was about 3. I think it was the blizzard of 66, something. Anyway, and I named my bunny. I'm pretty sure he was pink and Gina's was yellow. They weren't little fluffy bunnies. They were tall, uh, kind of square bodied, long, long eared bunnies. And I named mine Larry. Well, my dad's name was Huel.
Larry.
I don't think I named it when I got it, but I named it when we moved to Roswell because, like I said, Dad stayed behind and he was closing up the house and packing the furniture and everything and bringing it to Roswell to us.
Right.
Well, I was a daddy's girl, kind of, mama daddy girl, but I really missed my dad. And he called one night real late. It was just before Christmas, I think it was, of 68. because I was 5. And Mom had been talking to him on the telephone. So then I got on the phone and Dad, I didn't call him Daddy. He was Dad. Dad, I miss you. And I'm crying and boo-hooing and all that. So when are you coming? And they had given me, he had found somewhere, it was a twin, it was like a, it was, had the type material that looked like a mattress with the stripes, you know? The like, I don't know, not canvas, but not gum, but real thick ductwork type. And it
Like
was
what?
canvasy kind of, I said ductwork. But anyway,
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I
it's
don't know what
okay.
you're talking about.
It was about 3 feet tall, the size of a twin size bed and the length of one. But it
Okay.
was nothing but cotton,
Okay. So it was
hard
like a
packed.
mattress.
Yes,
Okay.
it was a mattress, but it was a like a cot mattress without the frame. Really cool.
Okay.
I don't even know if they make them anymore. But anyway, I remember laying there crying to my bunny, Larry, Dad, because I named my bunny Larry. Yeah.
That's funny.
So, yeah, that was Evergreen Street. I remember the water was really hard, and I didn't know what that meant because Mom would have to get distilled water for soft water.
Right.
I did not know what that meant. I was 5. My oldest brother, Renee, there wasn't a garage. In Posen, we had a garage. It was a brand new house. I mean, they had to put sod down because the lot yard was still dirt.
Right.
But there was a carport, and I wasn't in school yet, and so the kids would be in school, and I'd be there alone. And my oldest brother, Renee, not my oldest, but my oldest full-blood brother, made me a swing on the carport. And our dog, Butch, he was a Caucasian Shepherd, big, very protective. And he was mean because in Posen, when he was a pup, the kids would tease him. Neighborhood kids going through the back of the house, they'd like shoot fake bow and arrows at him and throw rocks and sticks and stuff at him and
That's
tease him
ridiculous.
and made him very mean and protective. Well, Dad said he had built him a dog house, and he was just a pup. As a matter of fact, there used to be a picture of Leslie and I in our hats and 6-shooters, pop guns, and stuff sitting on the porch. I had about 3, I guess. Anyway, holding Butch as a little puppy. But Dad said he built him a dog house that took 3 men to carry. Look up Caucasian
You
Shepherd.
might have gone a little overboard on the dog.
Look up Caucasian Shepherd. They're really
It
big.
took 3 guys to
But
move it. You might want to
but
use smaller lumber.
but that dog dragged that doghouse
Really?
trying to get to kids. Yeah.
Dang.
But
Maybe they should leave the dog
I,
alone.
no joke. But anyway, he was very protective, especially. I've always had a dog protector with me. Always. There was even one named Bozo, didn't I tell you about, that slept under my crib. Mama said that he would sleep under my crib. And
Really?
when I would drop my baby bottle out, he'd get it and drink the milk. But anyway, yeah. So I'm swinging in the carport, and that we had just moved in, and of course, Butch was my constant protector. You think Bronner? That's
Right.
Butch. He was, yeah. Anyway, and the electric man came up to read the meter, and Butch just would not let him near me. Just stood his ground. He didn't attack him.
Right.
He would not let him in that backyard by me. And Mom said, Emmy, go in the house. So I went in the house, and Butch followed me. Actually, I was Scar right there. We used to teach him as a puppy.
Yeah.
Oh, my chin. We used to teach him as a puppy and posing. It was a split level house, and the living room part was here, and it had a doorway in the kitchen here, and it had a doorway out here to the entry. And you're kind of underground because it's split level. So Mom was cooking in the kitchen, and my brothers and I were teaching the dog commands, And we would take and we'd put out little pieces, one kibble of dog food at a time. Stay, Butch, stay. All the way from where we were in the living room up to the kitchen. And he was such a good, smart pup. He would stay. And we'd say, okay, Butch, come. And one kibble at a time. He wouldn't just run and gobble them. One kibble at a time.
He was
He would
ET
go.
gathering them.
He would eat them nice and slow. He was a very good dog.
Right.
So then we're teaching him to jump. He's a young dog, and there was this bookshelf by the double doorway. Well, so my brother took a broom and he propped the end of the handle on the, like say, the second shelf up of the bookshelf, and he
Right.
held the broom part here, and tried to. My other brother, I think it was Renee calling him, Leslie holding. Anyway, come on, Butch, come on, trying to get him to learn how to jump over stuff. He would not jump. He just would not jump on it. So I said, Amy, get the bone and crawl underneath, and he'll jump over to the other side. He did. So I crawled underneath the broom handle. At the same time, I had just made it under. He jumped over, but he landed on my head, and that's how I busted. That's a Butch scar right there. But he jumped.
Dang.
He wasn't afraid of it. See, I ramble.
No, that's a good thing for what we're doing. Don't feel pressured to like get to the end of the story, the point of the story, because the whole point of this and everything is to hear you tell your stories and talk about stuff like that.
Oh, a
So
story.
feel free to just just keep going, just keep talking about Bush if you want to.
A story I heard. When we moved to Texas, we didn't get to have as close a relationship anymore with the dog. It was different. Anyway, I thought of a story after our podcast last week.
If you don't mind leaning towards the mic as opposed to away
Okay.
from it.
I thought of another story last week after
Like
our.
sit comfortably.
No, this is
To
comfortable.
the mic
It might
as
not
much
be
as you
rude, polite, but it's
can.
very comfortable.
Oh,
A story came to me last week after our podcast when I was thinking, my sister Gina and I, whom I told you passed away August after Dad passed away in February. She was like my second mama. I told you she was 7 years between the two of us, so she took care of me a lot. Mom said I'd stand at the screen door of the house that I was born in, go, see me, when she would finally get to go outside and play. Mom, can I please go outside and play now? I would hear from later in the stories. But anyway, well, in the old days, I can't believe I'm saying that, but in the 60s, you could gather, even in the 70s, I did it too for candy and a pop. You could gather glass bottles, milk jugs were in glass bottles and pop
right,
bottles. And,
right.
there weren't tin cans that I know of, unless it was something that wasn't for kids, what I mean. So we had gathered up. Oh, and the three of them, Gina, Leslie, and Renee, for Christmas, had gotten Schwinn bicycles with banana seats. If you know what a Schwinn is with the banana seat, they're pretty cool. Metal flake paint
I'm
and
not
all.
sure actually.
Anyway,
I don't know.
yeah. So we're riding around. It's summer, and we're playing.
I'm
But
assuming old school fancy kids bike.
yeah, look up a Schwinn with a banana seat. They're pretty cool. The leather seat rolled, pleated, and very nice. Hers was green, I remember. And one of them had a yellow one, Renee or Leslie. I don't remember. Anyway, so we had gathered up all these bottles. We were going to go to the candy store and get some candy, right? Well, we wrecked. She was in the front.
Kids often do with bicycles. I got a few
It was
scars
the
myself.
only wreck. It was the only wreck we ever wrecked. But it's a banana seat, so it's
What does
long.
banana seat mean? I don't know what does that describe that.
Well, okay, it starts out kind of pointy here, and it comes back, right? And then the back of it kind of goes up like this,
Okay.
and it's wider.
Okay. Is it like a two-person seat or
Yeah.
is
Yes.
okay.
So she's in the front at the pointy part of it, and I'm toward the back. And the back of it has like a chrome, like a little mini CC bar,
Okay.
like a motorcycle, right? No pack holder or any of that, but the chrome little.
Right.
It was only about that tall. Anyway, a lot of people would put flag antenna thingies on them,
Right.
or put a playing card in the spoke with the clothespin go. No, but anyway, so we gathered up all these pop bottles. I remember most of them, I think, were milk bottles, gallon milk bottles, and quart milk bottles. We crashed, and the glass broke.
Oh, I knew where the story
And we
was
got
going as
cut.
soon as you said bicycle and glass bottles.
We got cut, and we were bleeding. I don't remember crying. I don't think we cried. We might have laughed, but we're bleeding our legs and stuff. I still have a scar on the back of my leg from it, but it was good.
The important part though were the bikes okay.
Definitely. I think we went to her friend house, Sandy Stonis. She actually went to Florida later and went scuba diving with her one summer when we were living in Chicago. But anyway, I think we went to her house. They had a swimming pool. It wasn't above ground, but it was a swimming pool. I was too little. I couldn't swim, and I was not allowed to swim then, just like I couldn't
Right.
go ice skating. I mean, it was my sister.
And how old were you then?
I was about four,
Okay.
3.5, 4.
Well, it's definitely a stark contrast to Dad because I remember Dad said that he doesn't even remember. He used to say he didn't remember
Yeah.
learning how to swim, but he was swimming from like literally a baby. Like he said, he
Well, I
was a
was never.
baby, and they like threw him in the pool.
I was never around water like
Right.
that. I mean, my sister's friend had a swimming pool, but I was too little, and I didn't. I was not allowed to go
Right.
swimming in it. The pond at the end of the like 3 or 4 houses down, which
Well,
weren't houses yet from where they went
right.
ice skating. I was too
No
little.
opportunity to really
Yes,
swim in anything. Well,
yeah.
I mean, I get
Not until I
definitely
was after.
sympathize with that,
Yeah,
the
not
whole
until I was.
Alaska thing.
I'm sorry. Not
No,
until I was 7.
right.
And we went to this place called Hippie Ridge out in Wise County. It was a stock pond. It's in a gully. But, and then my sister, oh, I take that back. In Artesia, we lived one time in this trailer, little travel trailer. Mom and Dad had trouble, and we kind of went to Artesia. This was before we moved to Roswell. And we went to a swimming pool that Mom had gone to when she was a child, a young girl in high school.
Yeah.
And they made you wear the swimming caps for the hair. I remember
They
that.
made you wear a cap
You had
to
to.
swim.
Yeah,
Like everybody?
the public pool you had to, so they didn't end up with a lot of hair in the drain and clogs and
And how
stuff.
well did that work for him with a bunch of kids?
I don't know. I remember we wore one, the white swimming cap.
That's hilarious.
I didn't like it, but I wore it. But I remember my sister trying to teach me how to swim, and she just hold me out like this and just swim, swim, and I just never got it. One day, I was almost a teenager. No, I guess I was about 11 or 12. I guess almost a teenager. Anyway, I just went out to like Hippie Ridge and got in the water and I could swim. There was no pressure. I was just doing it. I wasn't pressured by anyone to do it or told how to do it,
Right.
anymore. I just got in the water and I swam and I floated and I could dog paddle. And later I swam across a lake in Weatherford. And I prefer the backstroke because then you can just kind of use your fingers and lay there or just go as fast as you want. I can do it all, but
I know
anyway.
anytime I've ever seen you, I mean, again, like you were saying when we were growing up, it was very few and far between that there was water that wouldn't kill you that you
Yes.
could swim in.
Or stand in for more than 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, so it's ironic that for the majority of my life, even now, I can't hardly
Yeah.
swim at all. But that to be such a sailor and grow up on boats and everything and have like almost zero ability to swim,
That's
past
it.
being able to get out of the water if you go in.
It's the difference in the Caribbean.
But anytime I've seen you in the water, you can swim really well. So
I can. I can. Just like in the snow and the blizzard in '67 in Posen, it was too deep. I couldn't
right,
go outside and play and make snowmen
right,
until it was almost all melted away because it was too deep. It was a big blizzard. I mean, everything stopped. I told you the story that the girl down the street's newborn almost died because they didn't have anything and she wasn't nursing. Mom had a can of pet milk. It was a name brand pet milk. It's evaporated milk. She gave her and saved the baby's life. And
right.
yeah, lots of good memories actually.
All right. Well, I do have a question for you.
Go for it.
As you think over your life and everything, who would you say was the most influential person that you can think of throughout your life? And if it was a couple different people for different like legs of your life or whatever, then that's fine too. But who would you say is like in your younger teenage years and growing up and everything, who was the most influential person to you or around you? Like that you knew or read about or anything? Like what was something that majorly influenced who you are?
First off, since I am most importantly a mother
Hmm.
and was a wife, I've never thought about it like that, but because the most important thing is being a mother, I would have to say my mom, although every one of my foundations have been equally part of, the integral part of who I am, like my dad, my mom.
Well, no fair, just saying parents. I mean, like
But I know my brothers and sisters and my fifth grade school teacher and my and then Miss Sweet, my high school history teacher, and just I've
is there any
basically
like one major influential person throughout your life that you can think of, or anyone that like inspired you, or things like that? Because I'm just curious because you've always had such like drive to be such a good person and drive to be such a good mom, and you've always been so selfless and everything. You've always been very sure of like what it was you wanted to do and where you wanted to go and how you wanted to live, and you've always been a very self-assured person. Like you've never second guessed yourself in any way, whether it was being a mom or your faith or where you wanted to live, or any of those things. I was just wondering, is that like entirely just who you are, or is there like the inspiration behind that
I have the
of
answer.
like who, go
God,
for it.
God,
Okay.
God shaped me by people and the situations and surroundings and implanted since the first thought or knowing of memory or anything. I've always had a very personal, close relationship, even if you don't realize it when you're that young or even older, in set words.
Mm-hmm.
If you think back, but see, I always knew. I remember in Roswell, I told you about the story of the horizon and the toy and the ball
Yes. Yeah.
to relate with God and our relationship with Him. One other one like that is I was at a little tiny dress shop with one of my babysitters, and I was pretty small. I was in my fives because it was New Mexico, and there was a little book there, a little golden book, and I picked it up and opened it, and here's the sky, beautiful blue with some clouds, but one cloud was a face with a long white beard. No detail really, just a cloud with the face and the beard, and it was blowing the wind. God saying, "Hi," to me as my child.
Right.
To me, that's that. So there are little foundations in there, but I would have to attribute it all to God.
All right.
He made sure that He laid the foundation of the bricks that made me. I guess that's the
Right.
easiest way to say it.
Well, I know your faith and everything has always been a very big part of who you are, and something that you've definitely imparted on the rest of us as well.
Thank
So,
you.
1 second. I might need you to talk just a little bit louder.
Okay.
And just
Can
a
I
little
pull
bit
it just a
closer to the
bit?
mic. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay.
Adjust
It's
if you need
hard.
to.
It's hard to. It's hard to not look at you and
As you
speak.
start getting emotional, you start talking.
Okay.
It might be a little harder
Okay.
for the folks at home to hear. So don't
Okay.
don't
I
don't
got
worry
you.
about being a
And
little louder.
I'm not a very loud talker, as you very
Like a
well
bear.
know.
Don't go full bear
No.
mode. Just
And you know
maybe
I'm not.
a little bit louder,
You
just so
know
the
I'm.
folks can hear you.
Okay. You know I'm not a loud talker anyway. And growing up with all you kids, I mean, all you kids growing up together, and Dad's a big talker, it's hard to get a word in edgewise.
Well, now's your chance.
But all my
You
life,
can get as many words in there as you want to now. So go for
but I was always just an observer. I was the baby on Mama's hip while she did stuff.
it.
I
Right.
did carry Joe on my hip while I did stuff. Well, I learned that from my mama because I was the baby and she didn't know where I was. And I was a mama's girl. I was a daddy's girl. I was the baby. Everyone doted on me, even my sisters and brothers' neighborhood friends. There was one girl, she was in Renee's grade. She's exactly 10 years, same day birthday and everything, 10 years apart. And every time she would come over, she would bring me a pack of Wrigley's double mint gum. Always. Everyone kind of treated me like a princess or whatever. That's not my ego. I'm just telling you the attitude that people had with me,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But I wasn't much of a talker. I haven't become talkative until the last 10 years. But
I know you've
yeah,
always seemed a little bit talkative to me, but maybe that's just because I've always
that was,
seen you when you are being talkative, or
yeah.
when you are speaking to someone that you want to talk to and stuff.
And teaching you stuff and,
Mhm.
and sharing with you. But yeah, I was always an observer. I observed life.
So you'd say more than an overreaching one thing. It's just been different people throughout your life, different scenarios, things
Yes,
you've garnered from those
yes,
scenarios that you were in. Well,
yes.
one story you should definitely tell the people is the potatoes that you used to carry around
Oh my, yes,
instead of the doll because the doll wasn't
yes,
realistic enough. I
yes.
just go from the beginning on that one because that's an interesting
Well,
story.
there again, I don't. I had to be 3.5 or 4 because we hadn't lived in the house in Posing very long at all, and I had a baby doll, right? Plastic, hollow, very light, pretty baby doll. And I think my mom was pregnant with my little sister, is how this actually came into play. I must have asked something about the baby, because I do remember looking in her top dresser drawer and seeing my old little baby booties. So I think she already had the baby stuff laid out for my little sister. But so I asked Mama about it, and there was a bag of potatoes, and so I got that, and I asked Mama to. She'd show me how to fold diapers around a baby, where you put them if it's a boy or a girl, cloth diapers, and how to put the receiving blanket or a blanket around them when you swaddle them or just cover them plainly. So I asked her to. I took this bag of potatoes and asked her would she wrap it for me, and she said, "Why you have your doll?" And I told her I don't remember the exact words she said, but basically you have your doll. And I told her that, no, it's not heavy. It's not real like a real baby. Babies are heavy. So I carried around a bag of potatoes wrapped in a blanket like it was a baby because it was heavy like a baby. And
Right.
I wanted to get my practice, I guess, for my little sister. I don't remember it for being my little sister, but yeah.
Is that the only thing you did like that with where you swapped out like a bag of potatoes for your doll, or was there other stuff that was more like a real baby, so you did it differently?
Oh, and uh, when we moved to Fort Worth, outside on the trailer, I did put one of my little doll's dresses on my little dog I had. A little tiny dog named Sammy. She was sweet. Mom and Dad had already divorced, but let's go back to Chicago. That's better. Oh, I remember they played bowling a lot. They would go bowling. I couldn't bowl either. I was too little, but I remember going bowling.
A lot of too little. I mean, it's like
I
when we were little, it
I
was
was the
like you mentioned
baby.
about you like mentioned about the snow, and I remember like when we were little after being in Haines where it snowed a lot that I remember y'all just taking us like that would just throw us right into like the big mounds of
Yeah,
snow. We'd be out there in snowberms that were like and snow all over the hills and stuff, well over our head.
yeah,
And I wasn't the little guy then. I mean,
yeah.
I was the knock around kid. It's like send him out and see if it's safe before we send the others. But I remember crawling through massive amounts of like snow over our head because I remember you yelling at us to hold up our arm so you could see where we were, and we'd like wave to you that we're still alive.
And not to dig tunnels in it because it could cave in on you.
Yeah, Dad said if you're gonna dig a tunnel, you have to make sure that the top of the tunnel is no more than half a foot. If you can make it stay with half a foot, because that's enough. If it collapses on you, you can just stand up.
Well, I
But he
learned
was
that.
like, do not dig tunnels where it's like 3 and 4 feet uh, above you.
Yeah.
Never have more above you than
Yeah.
like a foot at
I'll
most.
tell you a story about getting buried in sand later. I don't want to go
No,
into that right
go
now.
for it now.
Not
Yeah,
right
go
now,
for it now.
really. Not right now.
Okay.
My brother Leslie almost died. He was
Oh,
we
that's a
were
little
digging
heavy.
in
Well,
sand, and it
now you
and
gotta
it
tell the story.
there was I had crawled through the tunnel. It was my cousin. It was Leslie and I. It was before Mom and Dad split, so I was maybe 8. My cousin Leslie, myself, my cousin David, my cousin John Kate. We were out in the back field from the on the property, and it was all sand, mostly sand on the property, right? Um, and we were out digging. They had dug a big hole, like army men with their little foldable shovels and stuff. And it was probably 2.5 feet deep, about 7, 8 feet across, whatever. And then they started to dig through sideways for a little tunnel,
Right.
just a short tunnel, probably not 4 or 5 feet. And they got it dug through there, and I crawled through the tunnel, came out the other side. It was sand and cactuses and briars and goat
Sand
heads
is
and
not the most stable thing to, because it can seem stable and you can get away with doing digging and stuff
well,
like that in it, but just a little bit of anything moving in it, and it becomes
okay.
very unstable.
So my brother, it was his turn.
And when you get buried in sand, it's ridiculously hard to like.
It's
You think,
heavy.
oh, sand,
It's heavy.
but no, if there's enough of it on you, it will
It's
like
heavy.
just really hold you down.
It was probably this far under the
Right.
top,
Well,
right?
especially for kids, it doesn't take a lot.
Yeah, because this was they had dug out this round circle like uh, if like a they were we were playing, like a place to hide, Anyway,
Foxhole.
foxhole. That's where I'm looking for. So it's probably about this deep.
Right.
So from the side, they just started digging a little tunnel. Well, I had gone through everyone I had gone through, I think, and it was Leslie's turn. And it was so tiny, you had to crawl through like this on your hands and knees. And I remember the story later that he said something poked him like a root, so he pulled it,
Mm.
and when he pulled it, it caved in on him. And the only thing that saved his life, I'll jump to the end. I can go back to the other part,
Tell the story as you want to tell the story. Mom, go.
but so it caved in, and we all had our shoes off. We're playing in the sand, and the older cousin David goes, "Amy, go get Uncle Larry." Well, Dad was working on our well, trying to get the water to come out that day, and it just so happens my cousin Charla and her husband Joe Standifer, they were there, and they were over at Aunt Jean's, which was just right next door on the other side of the fence. And I told David, "I don't have my shoes," and there were cactus and briars, and it's a good thing I did that, because had I gone barefooted and stopped midway, they would have think I made it all the way.
Right.
But so I don't have my shoes. And so John, barefoot enough, took off running as fast as he could. He's like 3 years older than I. So he took off running like crazy, and he got to, where'd he go? I think he went straight to, I don't remember if he stopped at my dad and Aunt Alice's. Aunt Alice and Uncle Jesse were there too, as a matter of fact. Or if he just went straight to his house to tell Joe, because he was a young man. My dad had an operation for his ulcer, almost died. So he could do things, and he was better, but he wasn't as strong and physically fit anymore as Joe was. Joe Standifer, my cousin's husband. So I'm hearing the story third person, third, what happened third, anyway, because I was still trying to find my shoes and stuff. I got my shoes, and immediately David starts digging with his hands, trying to take us out, because it was just a short tunnel. So he might not want to, Les, if you're listening, you might not want to listen to this part. It might make you feel badly. Bring back bad memories, whatever. So I finally got my shoes on, and I got back, and Joe and John and everyone just took off running. They passed me, because John had kind of didn't know how to tell them, of course, But as soon as he told them, and everyone, and Joe Standifer, he was out in front. I never really talked too much to him, because he was kind of, Charlie and them, they were older, and I was just a little kid. But their daughter Carmen was a year younger than me. Anyway, his stepdaughter. Long story short, so Aunt Alice and I got in the car and went down to call for an ambulance. We didn't have a phone. About a quarter mile away to this gas station. Well, it just so happens Gina's friend's grandparents that raised Gina's friend, Sherry Joe Seagrace, he was hard of hearing. He would have to have his speaker by his chair blaring to even hear TV. So Aunt Alice is trying to tell him what's happening and all, and he's just not hearing it. So anyway, back to the action. When I heard that as soon as Joe got there and they were digging, David had already done quite a bit, and they were just digging like a dog with their hands, and all they could see was the back of Leslie's jeans and his belt and his T-shirt, just barely at the nape of his back there. And they said Joe just grabbed it and pulled him out like that out of the sand. And they got him breathing.
Well, a full-grown dude, a little kid should be. I mean, should be able to gain pretty
Well, I was
fast.
8. Les was about 12.
Right.
But that sand's heavy. But
Yep.
all he had, that little piece of belt and T-shirt and stuff at the back of his, and they pulled him out and they ended up taking him to hospital and all. But they said, I guess the doctors had said, I mean, I almost cried thinking about what his legs had gone through underneath there. And I couldn't find my shoes, so I didn't run. But I take solace in the fact that they would have thought I had gone and got help and I wouldn't have made it all the way.
Yeah, I mean, you were tiny.
But
Yeah. I mean, it all worked out fine. Nobody died. It was just one of those things.
they said
All
what
good.
what saved his life was the fact, besides God Almighty, amen, was the fact that he was crawling like this. So when he pulled the root and the sand started falling in, he blocked himself like this and created a little air pocket. And that's what saved him.
Yeah, wasn't able to get around his face. Right. Well, that was smart. Good instincts on that part.
Yeah,
That's what
because
they say to do
he just,
if you're in a
he,
cave in like that
yeah,
is to, you know, create as much space there as you can to hold
yes.
as much oxygen
Yeah.
as possible.
And like I said, it kept him, but it did finally, I guess, the weight of it pushed in on him and got around his face and everything. But
But it
thank,
probably wasn't as long as it feels like it was. Like even looking back on it, it probably happened pretty fast. The whole from the time it happened to the time of him getting actually
I'd
broken
say
down.
5 or 10 minutes, 10, maybe a little
Well, when
longer.
you're a kid like that, something like that, that's a long time.
Unless wasn't a panicker.
Right. Well, good. That's a good thing.
No.
Panicking gets you killed.
Yes, it does. And being quick and anxious, you have to be and keep your wits. What have we always said? If you're lost in the forest, first thing is, it doesn't matter. Be cool and calm.
Yeah, losing your wits doesn't
If you
never
panic,
helps.
it's just gonna hurt. It's gonna get you killed.
Well,
Is
it's
what
like
it's
that.
gonna do.
Like I always pointed out, whenever, like I remember so many times working with Dad, and we would be doing something dangerous, and I would, and like when I was a little kid, and I would start moving really slowly with things. I
Uh
mean,
huh.
slowly, and Dad would always say, "What is it? Billions of times, slow is not careful." But he always, brought up with that as well. That like slow is not careful. You can be fast and careful at the same time, but if you get in a hurry, is when you're gonna get hurt.
You know.
Because that's the same
Yes.
thing as losing your wits,
That's
like
right.
in any
Panic.
situation. If you get in a hurry, you're no
Yes.
longer paying attention to what you're
That's
doing.
right.
And whether that's an everyday moment or a moment of survival or anything like that,
That's
it,
right.
it really makes the difference if you keep
Yes.
your wits about it. And something as simple as the way you cover your head if sand's burying it.
Or if it's an avalanche, even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same difference. The thing that gets me about slow to do things uh, safely, accurately, whatever, especially in a situation that is a dire situation, whatever. In a gunfight, when you're drawn, in the westerns when they were drawing, you'd be needing not even a gunfight, just if you're needing to reload quickly because they only held 6 shots, right? So you shoot those 6 and you need to quickly say, bear's coming at you, whatever. If you're like this, you're going to fumble and you're mostly going to drop your bullets, right? So you open your cylinder, you knock them out, and you slowly, precisely, and carefully fill your cylinder. You've done it quicker and with more proficiency than you would.
Yeah.
So you empty it, you carefully, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, close your chamber, boom.
Well, that's where you can be
See?
fast and careful at the same time.
Well, I didn't say you have to move like a snail, but
No, no.
don't be,
Well, there's a
don't be
difference between
panicked.
fast and being in a hurry.
That's right, exactly, yeah. But
And that is the difference. Because I can't think of one time in my entire life that getting in a hurry didn't get myself messed up.
like even
It's why Dad couldn't chop an onion. Because he always got in a hurry every time he was chopping an onion. Safest guy in the world doing everything else, but he could not chop an onion to save his life.
and no matter what it is, what you're cutting with, watch your fingers.
And
Finger placement.
he could fillet a fish like an artist. He could do the fish all day, tan hides, any of that stuff. Put the guy in the kitchen and give him an onion to chop. He always drew blood. Always. I don't remember a single time Dad cooked that he didn't end up slicing something because he always got in a hurry in the kitchen. When he was doing other things, fishing, whatever, hunting, hides, he wasn't in a hurry. He was doing what he was doing. Every time he was cooking, he got in a hurry and sliced himself.
When,
Every time.
when I first started cooking, before we got married, I'd make things like peanut butter cookies or hot chocolate, fudge. I was the family fudge person, which was actually just a chocolate sheet cake frosting. But I found the recipe in Mom's recipe book. I used to like to clean the cabinets and refrigerators and reorganize everything. I can't help it. I like order and symmetry. That's me. Some things chaos can be order, like the forest. But yeah, so I didn't really cook a lot, do a lot of cutting or anything. Gina was the helping, like that. I was the baby. So when I first started cooking, I remember the first meal I ever made as a married woman while Dad was gone, and I made it, and it was almost ready when he got back from work. When she worked at Brown's Limousine. Anyway, was pork chops, mashed potatoes, and green beans. That was my first meal to ever cook. Ever.
Well, your first actual real
First
meal.
ever.
Did you teach yourself how to cook all that, or where did you learn
Watching my
mashed
mama.
potatoes and that stuff?
Watching my mama.
But you had never done any of that kind of cooking before, and so you're like, okay, I'm married, I'm cooking dinner.
Yes,
That was when you started cooking?
yes. Oh, I
Really?
put together tuna to make tuna salad and,
Right.
peanut butter sandwiches, toast. But no,
Unless your toast counts as cooking, maybe it does.
Mama spoiled me. Mama, I gotta have some toast. And she'd take me toast, even when I was a teenager. But anyway, yeah, I watched my mom. Like I said, I was the baby on the hip. So I watched all that and I asked questions. I watched her. That's how I learned chicken and dumplings and fried chicken and gravy. She taught me that when it smells like popcorn, add your milk. Yeah. Of course, I learned, oh, well, meatloaf and spaghetti and all that. And then married from your grandma Ola, Dad's grandmother. I learned their family spaghetti.
Right. I was about to ask, at what
I
point did
learned,
you learn how to make the spaghetti that I've been eating my whole
yeah.
life?
We'd been married a month, maybe, two, maybe. And that's where she told me, you just burn it. No, no, you don't burn it, you scorch it.
Right.
And it
Yeah,
took,
there's a difference.
there's a big difference, baby. There's
Well, you
a
don't
big
burn them,
difference.
you braise
And
them.
yeah, once I finally saw how she did it, I was
Right.
like, oh, okay, I got you now. You don't burn it, you just, yeah, scorch it. So, but that and y'all's the family, the family chocolate pie,
Right.
which built the family chocolate pie, which Dad, mother in home ec in high school learned and taught it to your grandma Ola, mom, and she taught it to me, and then Doak knew it. Aunt
Right.
Doak knew the same recipe. Now Doak's was a little darker chocolate for Dad's tastes, and and then I've seen both of them fry chicken, but I fry chicken like I saw my mama fry chicken, which all Southern fried chicken's basically the
I was
same.
about to say pretty
Eh,
much the same. Yeah.
Yeah,
You can go to just about anyone's house in the
yeah,
South, ask for fried
yeah,
chicken, you're just about going to get the same thing.
yeah. So those are the few things. I guess those three things I learned from the Browns, the Clemens, Grandma Ola.
Well, I know Dad had mentioned, I mean, many times he talked about how life was so different after he was orphaned and everything,
Yeah.
and he didn't know how to cook at all, like a
No,
lick of anything
he thought
ever,
crispy
right?
meant burned.
He thought that the skin on fried chicken was burned. He did not realize it was breaded and it's flour and all that stuff. He literally tried, he said, to cook himself fried chicken. And he just burned the chicken trying to make it fried. And he said that he just sat down and cried.
That blew my
And it took
mind.
him a while to figure it out. Well, I mean, also people have
Wait,
to remember you couldn't just go to the internet and look it up back then. He had to go find someone that could cook or go find a cookbook and figure these things out because he thought his whole life that his mother was just burning the chicken.
that's what blew my mind. I told him when I first heard it right before we got married. I mean, you never watched your mother cook in the kitchen? Ever? No. You never even went to the grocery store? Ever? With your mother as a child? No.
That wasn't his. No, there was always
What
sales for him to
child
do.
does not happen through the kitchen and stand there for a moment and watch their mama cook? He only did it to dip in the spaghetti sauce.
Right. He said he would do it to raid the kitchen while she was cooking, but
Yes.
other than
But
that,
he
that was
never
it.
had that curiosity of that. But man,
No, he was
that's all I
always
did.
riding a horse or swimming across
Playing
the
pool or
lake
talking to
or
his dad,
yeah,
music.
working on a car or singing in a band or all those things.
Renee had a
He
big.
always had some adventure going on and never slowed down to cook anything.
Our dad's and mine's roads were just pretty much parallel almost.
I mean,
Even,
I think that's why things kind of worked out the way that they did, and why y'all guys were always such
yeah,
such a good
yeah.
team.
Because some of the roads were, well, you've heard of Moss Point from Dad and where their house was on Cahoba. Well, there's also a deal through Sampson Park there called uh, where my mom and Aunt Jean's car in the 50s ran out of brakes there right almost to Moss Park Point by the Carswell Air Force Base, by the dam there,
Right.
the spillway.
I'm
So
saying right,
see,
like I know where you're
there
talking about, but
people that know
I
the
kind of
area
have
will
no
know.
idea.
But see, their lives were, even our parents' lives were like this
Well, I
by
know
each other.
I've heard you talk. I've heard you say some things about like when you were a kid and places and names, and I've heard Dad talk about things, and I've noticed some of the things are the same. Like he would say the same place or the same store or the same
Yes.
street
Yeah.
that you would say with with a lot of your things. So it was definitely parallel.
Yeah.
A lot of similarities.
Well, one of the similarities I was going to say in Chicago, when I was 14, he had a band. He
Right.
played guitar, and they played high schools and
What
dances
was
and
the
stuff.
band's name?
I don't know.
You don't remember the name of the band. It must not have been a very good band name
No,
if you don't
no,
remember.
it was good. They were good.
No, I don't
My
mean like
brother's
know the
good.
name of the band.
Oh, I
It
don't
must
know.
not have been very
I
good
don't
if you
think
don't
I
know.
ever heard it. I don't know.
Because
But it
anytime
was the
now
time
there's
with the leather jackets and the beetle boots, and
right.
it was like 66, 67. I don't know, however old he was at 14. And then something I just found out the other day, pardon me, Renee, we moved to Fort Worth, right? And I started first grade in Roswell. I
Well,
actually saw the moonwalk July 69 in Roswell at my babysitter's house. But then we moved just before Christmas of 68, no, of 69 to Northside Fort Worth. And Renee went to Jarvis Diamond Hill. I didn't know his name Jarvis till like this past month, to Diamond Hill High School. And
right.
he had like this Camaro, whatever, and he loved a hot rod because he had learned all about engines and stuff, helping Dad in the garage at the service station.
Because your dad was quite a mechanic, wasn't
He was a
he?
mechanic.
Wasn't he a mechanic in the
Yes.
military? Didn't he? Didn't
I
he work on
think he was a
things in
diesel
the Air
mechanic
Force?
mostly, but he knew all combustion
Wow.
things. Yes,
Very handy with a wrench.
yes, I'm pretty sure in the Air Force he was a mechanic. I don't know that,
Because I
and
didn't get asked earlier, like what he did in the Air
I
Force. Was he
don't
a
know.
fighter pilot? Was he
No,
a
I think he was a mechanic, but I don't know that because he did. I did ask him, did he ever kill anyone? And he was, I just don't want to talk about it. I asked him later after we were married. But anyway, so Dad had a Camaro, and his good friend. Okay, let me go back. Renee got out of high school. He was a senior in Northside Fort Worth at Diamond Hill. I was a first grader finishing my first grade.
right?
So he and I got out of school at the same time. And so he would take me home and pick me up. You know, he would pick me up in his hot rod. And all the way to the house, we would be hot rodding. You know, it was a four on the floor, and he loved to hot
Never
rod.
over the speed limit.
Well, and this is a suburbia, so it's like, you know, because short blocks to get to the
Right.
house. And I loved hot rodding with Renee. Just, you know, and all that is so much fun. And down the street from the house we lived in, which was on Lebo Street. This is after we're married and talking about who's where and all that. Well, Dad had childhood friends, Darwin and Danita Edgar, and they lived on Jasper Street.
Right.
Well, I mentioned living on Lebo toward the end there by the railroad tracks in the big giant field. And he was like, blah, blah, blah. And he talked about I talked about down the street, there'd be a big giant hide and seek game with all the neighborhood kids. And he said, well, his friends, this Danita and Darwin, lived on Jasper Street off of Lebo, which was down at the corner.
Right.
So I figure she was part of the neighborhood kids playing.
Well,
Well,
so you could have actually run into the same people, like the people Dad hung out with. You could have run into the same people
I
when you were
think
hanging out with yours.
I think that Dad and Renee probably hot rodded because Dad would always go and see his friends there after
Right.
his parents died. So they probably raced each other before, just hot rodding around the corners and stuff. I could have
Pretend
even,
racing.
I could no like I don't mean street drag
The Fast
racing.
and Furious.
Just pass someone. Hey man, you want to drag? Sure. And you turn. I don't mean ready, set, go with the flags and all that.
Probably.
Although they could have.
Probably Dad, maybe.
Renee could have too, but I'm talking about after school racing. You
Right.
know, driving fast, not racing. But anyway, so they could have drag raced with each other,
Right.
right? And the other night I was looking on history.com, ancestry.com, at more root stuff and everything. And come to find out, there is Renee's high school picture.
Right.
His graduate, because all schools take high school pictures. I mean,
Like
every,
yearbook or
yeah,
graduation.
yeah, yearbook picture. There we go, yearbook picture. All grades have yearbook pictures. So here he is, this senior yearbook picture. And I'm looking at it and I screenshotted it and all this stuff. So then scroll over one more page because our last name was Branson. So it's toward the first. And I scroll over a page, just curious, because I knew that Danita Edgar went to school at Diamond Hill.
Oh, right.
She was in Renee's grade.
Are you serious?
Yes.
They were in the same grade at the
Yes.
same school.
I'll show
That's
you
crazy.
pictures.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's weird how things intersect like that. Like a lot of times things.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Another one like that, there in Lakeworth, when we first moved to Fort Worth, Dad had a,
And that somebody Dad grew up with was going to school with your brother
and I probably played hide
at the
and
same
seek with.
time, and possibly have. Yeah, that's crazy. Sorry to interrupt you.
So another one, when we first moved to Texas here in Fort Worth, Dad worked at International Harvester as a mechanic. Well, then we moved out to Whites County, and he would drive in every day, and Mom would drive in to work every day, and that's like over 45 miles one way to get to work. So they would have to leave early. And this was before Dad's ulcer erupted, and he had to go to the hospital, which made us have to move from Wise County because it was a sand pit and you could not get in when it rained, or the sand was so deep you'd get stuck and have to get the farmer with the tractor to pull you out and all that. Anyway, so after Dad, he got a mobile station in Lakeworth by Buddy's and 7-Eleven right there,
Lakeworth, I know that name.
and A&W hamburgers,
Oh, right.
and the Sigmore station. Have you heard of that one? Did I tell you
Name
about filling up
the
there?
name sounds familiar.
Rudy
Yeah.
Arizola,
Well, that name, yeah. Yeah.
right there, all in this little corner. My dad had a mobile station.
Oh, dang. So Dad might have actually filled up at your
He went
dad's
to
station.
Sigmore,
I
which
mean,
is a type of
highly
Sinclair.
likely that he did.
He's seen it. He always filled up at the Sigmore, which is like Sinclair. And then on this corner, and this is the Jacksboro Highway. So you go down this street here, and the first street you turn this way, there's a church there, and that's Dakota Trail.
Right.
And up that just a little bit was my Aunt Jean and Uncle Jim's house
Oh, wow.
with John and David, Susie, Charlie, Joe, Charlie,
Right.
all of them. And just up from that a little bit on the next corner, Dad's mother had a rent house.
Mm.
Same road,
Oh, wow.
Dakota Trail.
Oh, dang.
That was the high school, Lakeworth High School Bullfrogs, where Dad went to school underground.
Right.
So did my cousins.
Oh, wow.
My cousin Fonda, remembered seeing Dad and his sister and thinking how beautiful Kathy was because she was an upperclassman. So you keep going down this street across from the mobile station. Don't turn on Dakota Trail, but keep going this way, which would be north, I think. And you get to a Lakeworth, Palm Beach. There was a boat ramp and all that, right? Well, that same road will take you to Dad's old house on whatever street that was he lived
Right.
on,
Okay.
Cahoba. But you're going down this street, and just before it turns like this, well, there was a place that did boats, and you could just, the smell of that fiberglass resin was just
Oh, don't even
awful.
say fiberglass.
It was just,
I've had so many bad experiences.
I could barely be down there because of the smell. It just so happens, just before you turn at Palm Beach, that big house on the corner was where Dad's first wife lived and grew up.
One time. Well, I mean, it stands to reason that all that would have a lot of history for both of you on that area
Yeah.
because it is all interconnected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Small world,
Yeah.
though very big.
Did you see any aliens in Butch? I have to ask. Any UFO sightings when you were living there?
No.
Did you actually, like, nothing? You never saw any bright lights at night? Cars levitating?
You don't have to be in Roswell to see weird lights, babe.
No,
No.
Roswell.
I know Roswell. No.
No.
Biplanes.
I know. I actually, Allie and I went through Roswell, and I was actually quite disappointed because it seems like and at that time I had no idea that you had lived in Roswell. I didn't know that. Maybe you mentioned it at some point.
Probably. I didn't talk much about my childhood.
I did not remember, but I was disappointed because I expected there to be like alien stuff everywhere, roller coasters for aliens and all this stuff. There was like one little museum. It was a cool museum, but there was like one little museum that was dedicated to like the Roswell crash and
Right.
aliens and all that
Right.
stuff. But it seemed like a missed opportunity because everyone that thinks of Roswell thinks aliens and UFOs and stuff. It seems like there should be like
I think they.
like theme park.
I don't
aliens
know.
stuff there.
I don't know who wants it. Like, if maybe they don't want it like that.
They might not. They might not. But I was
Yeah.
disappointed. I had a hard time even finding like a hat that had an alien in it.
I didn't even know.
I think I got a bumper sticker.
I didn't know about it when I lived there. I was 5
Well, I mean,
and
you were a
turned
teeny tiny
6.
kid, so
Yeah.
you're just an ankle.
I think. I think my dad was stationed there once upon a time.
Oh, really?
During
The plot thickens.
that time.
Really? Okay, so your dad was stationed in Roswell
I think
around
so.
that time and worked for and was in the Air Force. And was like a mechanic, engineer guy.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Because I know that.
Thickens.
I know after they got married, I remember hearing Mom say
And he
that they
had to
lived
be really, really good with mechanics.
extremely. He got a dishonorable discharge too. I never knew why.
Dishonorable? Okay.
I never knew
What did
why.
he do?
I don't
How
know.
did that?
I don't
Oh,
know.
that's a story.
I know. I wish I
You
knew.
have no
I
idea.
didn't
no
ask why.
clue? Okay. Dang.
I just knew he did. Mom told me, yeah, he got a dishonorable discharge.
All right.
I know he was in the Korean War. I learned that from his headstone on Find a Grave.
Well, I mean, a lot of guys that went through a lot of that stuff did not want to talk about it or
Yeah.
relive it afterwards, especially with young kids.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. Well, I know he was.
I can see how that would be difficult.
I know he was stationed in the Philippines during the war, and I've told you before that he there was a girl there, and they had a baby. I have a sister in the Philippines, but for some reason I don't know why, but he couldn't bring the woman and the baby with him. He had to leave them behind. But that's always been sad to me. It's had to been. I think I felt sadness in him about it, and my mom's the one who told me about it first. I mean, she wasn't. You know, but yeah,
Dang. Talking about all kinds of things today.
yes, we are, aren't we? I'm just told you, I go all over the place.
All right. Well, I think we've actually been talking quite a while this time. So I guess we'll call it a night on this episode, and we'll pick it up where we left off next time. Have you enjoyed
I
talking
have,
about old times and sharing stories?
I have. Are you glad I didn't share them much when you were little? So now you get to hear them all
No,
fresh and new.
No, because I've heard a lot of it is like ringing bells. I remember you talking about something about the sand story. I remember you talking about the bicycles and things in passing. But it's different when you get to sit down and go more in depth
Yeah.
and have the opportunity to just let you go with the stories and hear where it goes. It's a different perspective of getting to do that. So it's cool.
I hope
Also,
it-
I think as you get older, there's more appreciation for like the past and
I
the
agree.
history and all that stuff.
I agree.
And that's why I'm really happy to get to do that with you.
Thank you, man.
I wish I would have been able to do this with Dad, but that didn't work. But
Mm-hmm.
able to do it with you, and that's why I was really happy to be able to sit down with you and talk about these things, ask you questions, crazy random questions, and whatnot, and hear about your life before Alaska, before Dad, childhood stories, just all kinds of things. I mean, we haven't even gotten to Alaska yet,
No, and I still had many more.
right? So, and I'm glad you're having fun. I'm glad
I
you're enjoying
am. I'm always nervous and apprehensive and
it. I don't blame
about
you.
it. You know me, but then once I get to talking, I just, I'm,
That's what makes it fun,
my memories are in vivid color,
right?
360
Well,
kind of,
just
in here.
just slow
So,
down and
because I'm living it all over again, and like I said, I hope I'm able to paint good enough pictures that everyone else can kind of visualize,
well,
you
that's
know.
another thing. As we do more of this and everything, as we keep going with it, we'll get more comfortable, we'll get better at it, like with anything.
Uh,
And it's a different form of telling the stories. And I know you're probably a little on guard with like how to say what you're going to say and what to talk about and everything. But also, you said before, you like after we did the first episode, you're thinking about different things to like talk
yeah.
about when we
They
do it
just
again.
popped in. Wow, I didn't tell that story about the glass bottles, and you
Right.
know,
That's awesome. Get to hear all that stuff and do it in a way the future generations will be able to listen to and watch and get to experience those stories and things.
it's easier to talk my memoirs than write them.
Right.
I might never get around to writing them.
Knowing you wouldn't. I'm
No,
still waiting for that cookbook. Where's the
I know.
cookbook?
It's in
I
here.
know it's in there. It needs to be out of
I
here.
know.
Like write it
I
down.
know. I know.
All right. Well, I'm glad you
I've
had fun.
had fun. I hope I hope I didn't ramble too much.
That's the entire idea of the podcast. All
Thank you
right,
for
everybody. We're
thank
gonna
you for
call it.
having me.
We're of
I've
course, Mom.
enjoyed it. I love you
Of course.
more.
Glad you're having fun. I love
I
you.
am.
All right, everybody. I hope y'all enjoyed the episode today. We're gonna call it a night. We go get some grub. Y'all guys have a good one. Thanks for stopping by, and remember to always respect the danger.
Peace. Thank you. Hope you enjoy. That was fun.